My name is Chloe Bennett, 31 years old, and I used to think I understood the meaning of the word family. But if you stay too long in the role of the one who always carries the weight, always steps back so others can move forward, there comes a moment when you start to wonder, were you ever truly seen? I grew up in a small town in Minnesota, where winters dragged on so long you could lose feeling in your fingers just 5 minutes after stepping outside. Our old two-story red brick house sat at the end of the street, right across from a worn-down gas station and the town's only pharmacy. My parents divorced when I was 14. One autumn afternoon, my dad slammed the door behind him, suitcase in hand, promising to call when things settled down. My mom, Valerie, didn't cry. She just stood at the kitchen sink, washing the same clean cup over and over. From that point on, there were only 3 of us: Mom, me, and my little brother Logan, 4 years younger. Logan had steely gray eyes and a smile that could lower anyone's guard. People adored him. He was charming, talented, and had this uncanny way of making others feel important. Me. I learned to cook pasta 3 different ways, figured out how to prep basic prescriptions when Mom dragged herself home from the ER after night shifts, and took a job at the local sandwich shop in 9th grade to help pay for milk and toilet paper. Every afternoon after school, I'd race home, check the fridge, and start a fire in the wood stove to get dinner going. Mom usually walked through the door around 9 p.m., eyes swollen from a 12-hour shift, rubber gloves still clinging to her fingers. Logan never had to worry about chores. Mom used to say, "Boys don't do that kind of stuff." I kept quiet, washed dishes, and helped Logan with his math homework. "You sure I need to learn how to solve equations?" Logan once asked as I sat beside him at the kitchen table. "Yeah. Unless you're planning to live off sandwiches for the rest of your life," I replied, trying to sound calm. He laughed. "I don't really see a problem with sandwiches." Still, I didn't hold it against him. He was a kid. I couldn't be mad at someone who didn't know what I knew. On rare nights when Mom joined us for dinner, she looked at Logan with a warmth I never received. As for me, I was the easy child. That phrase sounded like praise, but over time, I realized it really meant the one who won't complain even when everything is taken. The summer I turned 16, Mom fractured her leg at the hospital. Logan was too young to care for himself, so I skipped the last lake trip with my friends to stay home, cook, drive him to school, and work a 3-hour shift at the corner store each evening. While my friends posted pictures of bike rides and bonfires, I was changing bandages and scrubbing pans. "You going to be okay, Chloe?" Mom asked, wincing in pain. I smiled, one hand holding gauze, the other wiping her forehead. "I'll be fine. You just get better." At night, lying in my room, a cramped space between 2 patchy, paint-peeled walls, I sometimes wondered if anyone in that house ever thought about how I felt. But then Logan would knock, holding up a crooked drawing of me stirring a pot, and I'd melt. Whenever I earned a scholarship or a certificate, Mom would say, "Good. But don't let it get to your head. You know we can't afford much." But when Logan brought home a doodle or joined a soccer team, the whole house would celebrate like he'd won Olympic gold. Back then, I thought maybe it was just because I was older that I had to be the responsible one. I tried not to let it get to me, convincing myself everything I did mattered. That my sacrifices were keeping this family together. I was wrong. Looking back, I see now. Those years taught me to love unconditionally, but I never received it in return. And when you're the only one giving in a relationship, that's not love. It's manipulation wrapped in obligation. I never imagined that just a few years later, the very family I fought so hard to protect would shut the door on me in my own home. I left Maple Ridge the summer I turned 27. After an interview at a media firm in Seattle, I stood on the 18th floor, looking out at the trees glowing in the afternoon sun, and finally admitted something I'd never dared to say aloud. I wanted a life that wasn't defined by duty. The job offer came the following week, a content manager role that paid nearly double what I'd been making. Great benefits, creative freedom, and the unmistakable feeling that I was finally stepping into my own world. When I called home to share the news, Mom went quiet for a moment. "Seattle's so far, Chloe." "I know. But it's a good opportunity, Mom. I'll be okay." Logan was more enthusiastic. "That's awesome, sis. Send me pics of your new office." They sounded supportive, at least on the surface. I rented a small apartment near the Bainbridge Ferry, glass walls, hardwood floors, and a sunlit kitchen corner where I grew basil in glass jars. Each morning I brewed coffee, opened my laptop, and watched the lights spill over the rain-slicked street below. I thought this was finally it, something that belonged to me. But just 3 months after I moved, my phone rang on a Sunday night. "Chloe," Mom began, panic in her voice. "The heater's broken. It's freezing and Logan and I have been wearing coats inside." Bathed in the soft glow of my living room lamp, I looked up repair estimates. $3,200. Not nothing but manageable. I wired the money that night. The next month Logan texted. "My car keeps breaking down. Getting to work's a mess. Found a used Camry at a good price." I asked how much. "About $5,000. I checked my savings, sighed, and transferred the amount. I didn't see it as a burden. In my mind it was love, expressed through action. I used to hope they'd notice my efforts, remember me not just when they needed help, but in some genuine, heartfelt way. The visits home became less frequent, work kept me busy. I tried to call weekly, sent photos of the cat I adopted, forwarded recipes I thought Mom would enjoy. But every call ended the same way. "Logan's stressed, they cut his hours. Rent's tight this month, Chloe. Went up suddenly. Your brother wants to take a skills course, but tuition's steep." I began setting up recurring transfers. $700 to Mom, $400 to Logan. Then gradually more as their needs grew. Some months I sent over $1,500. Not because they asked. No one demanded a thing. Mom used to say, "Thank you, Chloe. I don't know what I'd do without you." At first, that sentence warmed my heart. But over time it started to chill me. Because it never came with a single question about how I was doing. No one asked if I was okay living in Seattle. No one remembered my birthday or wondered what I might like for the holidays. Only I remembered Mom's birthday and mailed her gifts. Only I sent Logan mooncakes because he used to love the red bean filling when he was little. 3 years later, I opened an Excel sheet to track my finances and realized I had sent nearly $60,000 home. In that time, I'd canceled a trip to Iceland because Mom said things were tight, and I'd passed on moving to a bigger apartment because Logan might need more help fixing his car. One Thanksgiving when I came home, I saw a brand new fridge in the kitchen. The living room had an Italian-style sofa set. Logan was bragging about a recent ski trip in Oregon. "We scored a crazy deal on tickets," he explained, laughing. Mom just looked at me and ladled more gravy over the turkey. "You've gotten so skinny, Chloe. What are you eating out there in Seattle?" I swallowed hard. I didn't ask about the fridge. Didn't ask about the trip. I didn't ask because I was afraid the answer would be something I wasn't ready to hear. Instead, I sat at the table, scooped some mashed potatoes, and quietly watched the candlelight flicker in the breeze from the slightly cracked window. I used to believe that if I gave enough, the distance between me and them would close. But it seemed that the more I gave, the further I faded, until I was nothing more than a shadow outside the picture frame. I didn't stop then. I hadn't realized it yet. What woke me up came one winter afterward, a winter with snow so thick it couldn't hide the truth anymore. Since moving to Seattle, I'd kept my Sunday calls home like clockwork. But lately, the number of times I had to leave voicemails started creeping up. "Hey Mom, it's me. You're probably busy. Call me when you get a chance." 3 days passed. Still no reply. Mom used to say night shifts at the hospital wore her out. I understood and I kept waiting. But when I saw she'd posted a photo having dinner with friends at an Italian restaurant while my calls went ignored for 3 straight days, something inside me cracked. Logan started disappearing too. My messages were met with dry replies. "Busy. Text tomorrow." In a group meeting. Then I saw him on his girlfriend's Instagram, a curly-haired blonde I'd once met on a call, tagging him in stories from a camping trip in Tahoe. "Logan makes the best s'mores." Read the caption under a photo of a bonfire with a new pickup truck parked in the background. A truck I had never heard about. I stared at the screen, sinking like I'd been pulled into cold water. Not because Logan had a girlfriend. Not because he went out. But because no one bothered to tell me anymore. I was still sending money every month, still playing the responsible sister, the reliable daughter, the invisible caretaker paying for every little expense under a roof where I no longer existed. Last Christmas I came down with the flu. The doctor ordered complete rest, no long-distance travel. I called Mom Stuffy Nose to apologize for not making it. She was silent for a moment. "Well, Logan's going to be disappointed. What are you planning to send this year?" I blinked. "I mean, if you can't come, at least, you're still sending gifts, right?" I laughed, so bitter it burned my throat. Of course, Mom. I've already picked everything out. Should get there in time. I really had. I chose each present carefully. Logan got high-end gaming headphones, the exact model he linked to me a month before. Mom received a blush pink silk robe and a luxury spa voucher downtown. I added a handwritten card, each word deliberately neat. No one replied. No text to say the packages arrived. No photos of gifts being unwrapped. Not a single thank you. Then I saw Mom's Facebook post. A glowing living room, a tree bathed in golden lights, gifts stacked beneath. In one corner I spotted my silver-wrapped box, unopened, buried among brightly tagged packages. Her caption read, "Thank you to the loved ones who made this Christmas so special." I wasn't tagged. I wasn't mentioned. I read every comment from Mom's friends, old neighbors, distant relatives. Everyone gushed, "So cozy, picture-perfect family. Logan looks so grown up." I read it all, feeling like I was watching someone else's life. A show I once starred in, now cut from the script. The next day I called. Logan picked up on the fifth ring. "What's up?" he asked, his voice dry like smoke. "Did you get the headphones?" "Yeah." "Do you like them?" "They're fine." "Then, why didn't you say anything? You always send stuff." "I'm used to it." My chest clenched like a fist wrapped around my heart. "Logan, do you even see me as part of this family anymore?" A long exhale filled the silence. "You live all the way out there. You always call just to talk about stuff that doesn't matter. Mom's tired. Don't make a big deal out of everything." I sat frozen in front of my phone screen. No one asked if I was okay. No one cared that I was sick in a cold apartment eating instant noodles because I had no energy to cook. They just wanted gifts. I used to believe the money I sent, the gifts, the check-in calls, they were the threads holding me and my family together. But the truth is, I'd been clinging to a cord that had long been cut. I just hadn't seen it. People say distance is what kills relationships. But that's not it. It's selective silence. It's coldness dressed up as social politeness. It's the silent expectations from those who are supposed to love you unconditionally. That's what rots a heart bit by bit. I hadn't pulled my hand out of that hole yet. But someday I would. Because the person who keeps getting pushed out eventually learns how to stay outside and never go back. I left Seattle at dawn on December 23rd, while the city still slept and icy winds seeped through every crack in the windows. Instead of flying, I decided to drive, nearly 550 miles through snow-covered mountains, chasing the fragile hope that maybe, just maybe, Christmas this year would be different. In the trunk was a deep red box trimmed in gold, each gift chosen with care. An olive cashmere sweater for Mom, the shade she always said made her skin glow. A custom engraved knife set for Logan, because he once mentioned he wanted to get serious about cooking. I'd even special ordered a vintage bottle of Oregon wine, something I'd heard Mom mention on a food show once. In the passenger seat sat a box of pumpkin pie I'd baked the night before, using Grandma's old recipe. Every time I stirred the batter, I could almost smell the cinnamon spice and hear her giggling in the cramped kitchen. The trip took nearly 13 hours because the roadside shoulders were frozen. I didn't stop for long, just to get gas and eat a cold sandwich in the car. Every time I rounded a dark bend, I whispered to myself, "Just make it there. Everything will be okay." By the time I turned into my old neighborhood, the sky had gone dark. Snow kept falling quietly. The beige brick house came into view with white lights perfectly lined along the roof, a twinkling tree in the living room, and shadows moving behind sheer curtains. Along the curb, 5 cars were parked close together, including a gray BMW I didn't recognize. I checked the time. 6:35 p.m. Right on time for dinner. I fixed my hair in the rearview mirror and put on a light layer of lipstick. My hands trembled as I grabbed the gift bag and the pie and stepped onto the snow-covered steps. The window light made the house glow with warmth. I rang the bell. The sound of violin music from inside abruptly stopped. Footsteps approached. The door opened. Mom stood there in a fitted black velvet dress, a shimmering silver bracelet on her wrist. Her face was fully made up. Deep red lips, classic curls, perfect contour. She looked at me like I was a stranger. "Sorry, can I help you?" I froze, pie in hand, fingers stiff with cold. "It's me, Chloe." Her face tightened for a moment as if she was wrestling with something inside. Then she glanced over her shoulder toward the dining room where laughter echoed. "Oh, Chloe, you came without telling us. Why? I stepped back, set the pie down on the step, and lifted the gift bag. I wanted to surprise you. I sent a message 2 days ago. Yeah. I've been busy. Didn't see it. She licked her lips and lowered her voice. Now's not a good time, Chloe. We have guests. I peeked inside. The table was covered in a red cloth, candles flickering gently. Logan sat near the window in a crisp white shirt, pouring wine for a brunette woman. Just give me 10 minutes. I'll say hi and leave. She shook her head slightly. No. No one knew you were coming. It's awkward. My nose burned. My lips were cracked and sore, but I still forced a smile. So someone who's been sending gifts for the past 4 years, don't deserve a seat at the table? She said nothing. A man in his 60s wearing a gray suit stepped behind her. Valerie, speeches are about to start, he said. I'll be right there. Then she turned back to me and hissed, please don't make this hard on me in front of my clients. I stood frozen, heart tearing apart. Logan appeared behind her. His eyes met mine, a flicker of guilt in his gaze. Chloe. I took a step toward him. Did you get the gift I sent? He nodded. Yeah. Thanks. But his voice trailed off as Mom gave him a sharp look. I think I should go, I whispered, setting the gift bag beside the pie. Valerie pulled the door halfway shut. Merry Christmas, Chloe. The door closed without a sound. I stood in the freezing wind, surrounded by the warm glow of a celebration I didn't belong to. I backed away, my foot slipping slightly on the icy step. No one came to get the gifts. No one called me back. That 550-mile journey ended in the sound of wind and the fading warmth of pumpkin pie left alone on the porch. I turned away, hollow inside, wondering, in that house, who really didn't belong? I don't remember how I walked away from that doorstep. The gift bag still sat there, dusted in frost. The pumpkin pie I'd brought, my fragile symbol of healing, began to chill in the wind. I slid into the car, shut the door, and sat motionless in the thick darkness. Everything inside me swirled and cracked. I pulled out my phone, fingers shaking as I opened my contacts. Logan's name lit up the screen. It rang for a few seconds before he answered. You still out there? His voice was barely above a whisper. I swallowed my tears. In the car. Don't be mad at Mom. She's just thrown off. Thrown off. I let out a bitter laugh. A house full of people. Everyone knows what she looks like. But when her own daughter shows up, she pretends not to recognize me. I didn't think you'd actually come. She said you canceled. You thought I canceled but still sent another $1,000 before the holiday? Logan went quiet. I spent a whole month picking those gifts. Drove 13 hours through snow and ice just to be treated like some uninvited delivery driver. Don't say that. I held back a sob. Did you ever stop to think, just once, that maybe I have feelings too? Or do you only remember I exist when your account's about to hit zero? There was a long silence on the other end. I leaned my head against the seat, exhaling slowly. I need some time, Logan. Come on, sis. I waited for an apology. An honest explanation. But instead he blurted, Mom's about to give her speech. I've got to get back. Okay. How about coffee tomorrow? Just the two of us. No one else. You won't show. I will, I swear. Just send me the hotel address. I didn't reply. My eyes were dry. I was about to hang up when I heard him say something quickly into the phone. But not to me. It's fine. Calmed her down. She's not coming back. I froze. My chest turned to ice. A girl's voice chimed in, laughing. She actually brought that pie or whatever? Yeah. Like something out of a cheap movie. Pumpkin pie, hand-wrapped gifts standing there shaking in the cold. Mom almost couldn't stop laughing. Another laugh echoed, deeper, a man's voice. She still thinks she's part of the family? We never kicked her out. She walked away herself. No, the best part is she still thinks she matters. Keeps sending money, sending gifts, thinking that earns her a seat at the table. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She said she picked every gift carefully. Like it was some sacred act. Another woman scoffed. Didn't she live in Seattle? With her salary, losing a few grand probably doesn't even sting. Oh, it stings, Logan cut in. Just not enough to make her stop. I clenched the phone. Each word felt like a blade to the throat. Mom could only open the spa thanks to her. Yeah, but don't let her know part of that money went to the resort deposit in Sedona. Mom's still claiming she's struggling with rent. Another round of laughter broke out. I could barely breathe. Remember when she sent an extra $3,000 after Mom complained about back pain? Mom went to Vegas the very next week. My hands had gone numb on the steering wheel. She still thinks money keeps the family bond alive. We just think as long as the cash keeps coming, might as well let her keep hoping. A voice in the background reminded, "Let's go. They're about to start speeches." And with that, the line went dead. I was still holding the phone. The screen had gone dark. The car was silent. Outside, the snow was falling slower now, and the streetlights blurred like they were behind sheer curtains. It wasn't shock anymore. It was exhaustion. I didn't cry. There were no more tears. Just something cold lodged deep in my chest. All these years, I'd been sending money believing I was staying connected to a home. Turns out, I'd just been a fool feeding an illusion. One carefully sustained by calculated silence. I thought back. How many vacations had I postponed to send more money to Mom? How many times had I skipped buying a new pair of shoes because Logan urgently needed tuition? All in the name of family. Now shredded behind my back like a cocktail party joke. My feet pressed against the slushy car mat. I opened my bag, took out my wallet, and pulled out a sticky note I'd kept tucked there. "Send more if Mom's spa isn't up by February." I tore it in half. Then I started the car, turned off that old street, and drove straight toward the highway. In the rearview mirror, the house still glowed warmly, like it hadn't just slammed the door in my face. I got back to Seattle on the morning of December 26th. The reflection in the bathroom mirror was barely recognizable. Puffy eyes, pale skin, a vacant stare like someone who'd walked out of an unnamed storm. I didn't unpack. I sat on the floor with my laptop on my knees. The apartment was silent, except for the wind outside and the click of keys as I began retracing every transaction from the past 6 years. Each payment lit up the screen. $4,200, heater repair. $1,750, Logan's car broke down. $800 a month. Help with Mom's rent. $500 a month. Living expenses for my brother. $3,000, urgent back treatment. $2,300, Logan's business course tuition. I kept scrolling year by year, entry by entry. Each amount was a time I thought I was doing the right thing. Total, $83,670. And that didn't even include gifts, plane tickets for visits, or the low-rent apartment I let Logan crash in for 2 years without ever paying on time. I opened my email. Searched the words, Mom, Logan, transfer, urgent. An email from Mom in 2021 popped up. "Sweetheart, I hate to ask, but this month has been so hard. Rent went up, Logan still hasn't found work. If you could help, just for this month." I remembered wiring her $1,000 immediately. But the Facebook post 3 days later showed her dining lakeside with her spa investment partner. Another email from Logan. "Hey sis, my car's making this weird noise. If I don't fix it soon, I can't get to work. A buddy's selling one cheap. Can I borrow $2,500? I'll pay you back." It was the same Audi I saw at Christmas dinner. Same license plate. I sat there for 7 straight hours, drafting a document over 20 pages long, detailing every date, amount, purpose, and contradicting evidence. No emotion. Just the truth, raw and undeniable. Near midnight, I logged into my bank account. Cancel all recurring transfers to Valerie Bennett and Logan Bennett. Lock the secondary credit card my mom was using and report it as lost. For the pharmacy card used 3 months in a row at a jewelry store, I requested a new card and updated all authentication details. Next, I logged into the rental platform. The ground floor apartment Logan rented under my name was now 3 months overdue, despite me cutting the rent down to 1/3 of the market rate. I sent a short email to the building manager. "I'm requesting termination of the lease for Unit 1B. The current occupant is no longer authorized. Please contact me directly for any assistance." The last task that night was writing an email to my mother and brother. Subject line, "Notice regarding financial support." To Mom and Logan, after a thorough review of all financial records and what I've just witnessed, I've decided to permanently end all forms of financial support from this moment forward. The money I've sent totals over $80,000. most of it based on dishonest justifications. These actions amount to exploitation and emotional manipulation. I've archived all records, transactions, and communications as evidence should any legal action be necessary. I will not respond to any further monetary requests from either of you. Do not contact me unless it pertains to legal obligations or clearly defined responsibilities. Chloe. I read it over one more time. No anger. No pleading. Just pulling the plug on a system that had drained me dry. After hitting send, I closed the laptop, stood up, and walked into the bathroom. Cold water hit my face like a slap back to reality. In the mirror, I saw something clearly this time. I was no longer the gentle sister from those old family photos. The quiet girl who sent money and never asked for anything in return. I had risen from the chair labeled, the one who endures. The next morning, I woke up to 63 missed calls. Mom and Logan flashed back and forth on the lock screen. Notifications kept coming in, each one pushing the older ones down. I didn't open a single one. I just sat up, poured coffee, and laid the phone face down on the kitchen counter. The ringing started again, a video call this time. I hit decline. Then the first message popped up from Mom. Mom, Chloe, this is childish. What the hell are you doing? I couldn't get any money out. My card was declined at the store. Call me back now. 3 minutes later, Logan, sis, I'm at a gas station. My card's frozen. I'm standing here like an idiot. Then another, Logan, what is this? You pull this crap at Christmas? Are you even human? I picked up the phone, turned off notifications, but I didn't block them. Not because I expected anything. I just wanted to see how they'd react when the money faucet suddenly stopped. By 10 a.m., Mom had left a 3-minute voicemail. Her voice boiling over. You embarrassed me in front of my business partner. I couldn't pay for dinner last night. Do you know how humiliating that was? All because you think you're hurt? Grow up. I put the phone down and opened the window. Outside, the sky was clear, not a cloud in sight. By noon, the tone shifted. A new message from Mom, this one soaked in desperation. Mom, if you still have a conscience, at least think about your mother. I raised you from nothing. Now I've lost everything. The spa needs funds today or they'll go with another investor. I've staked my whole life on this. Mom, Chloe, do you really want to see your mother go bankrupt? An hour later, Logan sent a photo of an overdue utility bill. Logan, you're getting me evicted. I'm not joking. If I lose this apartment, do you even know what could happen? Logan, don't do this. Don't push me to the edge. I held my glass of water and stepped out onto the balcony. The street below was still buzzing with strangers. People who, at least, didn't pretend to love me while using me like a walking ATM. That evening, Mom called again. I didn't pick up. The next text dropped all pretense. Mom, do you realize cutting off financial support without notice is abuse? You will be held legally responsible. Mom, you agreed to help. Suddenly pulling out like this is a violation of our unspoken family agreement. I'm speaking to an attorney. An email followed immediately after. Subject line: irresponsible conduct subject to legal action. The content was poorly written, scattered, but dripping with threats. We demand that Chloe Bennett resume financial support within 72 hours, or we will be forced to pursue legal action for breach of familial duty, financial damages, and emotional distress. I laughed out loud at the phrase familial duty. The same people who called me a pathetic Hallmark girl behind my back, the one who brought pie and gifts uninvited, were now demanding I fulfill some sacred obligation? The next 3 days were a blur of begging, blame, guilt trips, and even anonymous insults from unknown numbers. Logan, I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking that day. People said stuff they didn't mean. But you're my sister. Your family. No one else can help me like you can. Mom, I've cried for 2 days. They canceled the spa contract. We might lose the house. Just send $5,000. Just once. Unknown number. You selfish bitch. Got money but won't help your own mother? Why even live? I saved it all. Screenshotted, emailed to a backup account, filed it by date. Not to respond, but in case they tried anything legally stupid. I didn't reply to a single message. Didn't write back one word. Every time the screen lit up, I remembered the laughter behind my back at that Christmas party. The cold jabs spoken by people who once held my hand in family portraits. Thursday afternoon, I erased the entire chat history. Set "Do Not Disturb" to indefinite. One morning afterward, while making coffee, I heard the ping of a message from my laptop. An email from Mom. The subject was simple: damage that never heals. The content was a long paragraph, part accusation, part cryptic suggestion that I suffered from untreated emotional instability. I hit move to blocked contacts. No hesitation. The coffee was ready. Sunlight spilled over the balcony railing. I didn't exactly feel at peace, but one thing was certain: no one would ever bend me again. No kind of love demands that you collapse just to let someone else stand on your dime. I shut the balcony door, opened my laptop, and got ready for the Monday meeting. That's when the doorbell rang. On the camera screen, a familiar frame, a tall man in a gray jacket, beanie pulled low. Logan. I didn't go to the door. I stood there silently, watching through the lens. Then I walked away without looking back. I started seeing Dr. Caroline after ignoring every call from Mom for a full month. It was Lisa, the project lead at my firm, who left Caroline's business card on my desk with a short note: "No one can hold it all forever. You don't have to break to earn rest." Caroline sat in a small office with oak floors and watercolor prints of still lakes on the walls. She had a voice that was both firm and gentle, the kind of person who could peel back your emotions without you noticing you were being unraveled. My family used the money I sent like it was an automatic deposit. No updates, no gratitude, no acknowledgement. The moment I stopped, they threatened to sue, I said during the third session, eyes fixed on the glass of water. Caroline gave a soft nod. So they got used to receiving, but never learned how to face losing. I was quiet. Abuse doesn't always come with bruises or yelling, she added. Sometimes it's baked into the unspoken obligations within relationships we consider sacred. Especially for women, assigned the role of caretaker as if it were their fate. I left the office that day without saying much. But that night I opened every old photo on my hard drive. In every Christmas, Thanksgiving, and birthday shot, I was the one holding the camera. The one giving gifts, doing dishes, vanishing behind the very scene I had built. A few weeks later, I ran into Ivy, the woman from the floor below, while we were both trying to get the heater started in the middle of winter. She was about 10 years older than me, with soft curls and earth-tone turtlenecks. We chatted a bit about utility bills, then coffee, then family. "I once lent my brother all my savings to open a car repair shop," Ivy shared. 3 months later, he sold the tools and moved to Florida with his new girlfriend. I burst out laughing, for the first time in weeks. "What did you do next?" I asked. "Closed my accounts. Changed my number. Then I started buying pottery and learning to play the flute." Ivy invited me to a Sunday potluck with some neighbors. After that, my apartment no longer felt cold every weekend. We ate cauliflower stew, cornbread, watched old movies, and played Uno. No one asked how much I earned. No one pressured me to explain why I didn't go home for the holidays. I started calling them the people I choose. That holiday season, I signed up to deliver gifts to a senior support center on the south side of the city. I volunteered to wrap presents, a skill that, though never properly appreciated, I was pretty damn good at. Each box had a handwritten name. I picked out a watercolor set for the elderly woman who used to teach art, and a model ship kit for the retired sailor. I no longer gave gifts to earn love. I gave because it felt beautiful when done freely. On April 2nd, I walked out of a bookstore near Pioneer Square with a slim poetry collection by Ada Limon, when a familiar voice echoed behind me. "Chloe." I turned around. Logan stood there, hoodie zipped high, hair longer, eyes sunken. He offered a hesitant smile. "I'm in town for a UX design seminar," he said, trying to sound casual. "Didn't expect to run into you." I nodded. "Seattle's smaller than it seems." He paused. "You look well." "I am well." I said it plainly. Not bitter. Just the truth. He fidgeted with his phone. "I'm sorry. For everything, back then." I looked him in the eye. "I've forgiven you. But I haven't forgotten." Logan nodded. "Mom asked about you. She lost the house." I raised an eyebrow. Said nothing. "Do you want to see her?" I shook my head, light as air. "I don't hate Mom. But I don't owe her the rest of my life either." He gave a sad smile. "Fair." I said goodbye and walked away without turning back. When I got home, Ivy was making tea. Looks like you just dropped a stone from your backpack, she said, handing me a porcelain cup. Not a stone, I replied. A rusted chain I kept thinking was a kite string. She chuckled softly. That night, I sat under the warm glow of my lamp, reading a poem that said, "Some people are called home but never feel warm. Some people share no blood, but leave a seat open when it starts to rain." I set the book down and texted Ivy, "Let's make something with ginger this Sunday. Feels like the air could use a little spice." Outside the window, the snow was melting slowly. The air was still cold, but I had stopped burning myself just to keep others warm. Chloe's story is a sobering wake-up call about financial abuse disguised as family love. She spent her youth carrying burdens that weren't hers, only to be met with contempt and manipulation. When she cut ties, she didn't just protect her finances, she reclaimed control over her life. Chloe shows us that family isn't about who gets to stay. It's about mutual respect, real love, and never being treated like a walking wallet. What do you think about Chloe's decision? Was she too harsh, or was it necessary to earn respect? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to follow the channel for more powerful real-life stories about family.